Hello, this is Mike Regan with Transact's 2-minute warning for the week of May 13th. How good is your supply chain and what are you willing to do about it? A couple of weeks ago, I was at a conference for CEOs and presidents, and I moderated a panel discussion with some friends of mine who are also outstanding supply chain leaders. Mark Hollifield is an executive vice president of supply chain with Home Depot, and Tracy Rosser, up until recently, was the senior vice president for transportation for Walmart. And during the conversation, both Tracy and Mark talked about how Home Depot and Walmart have used their supply chains to achieve a significant and sustainable competitive advantage. Now, one of the things we also had to do was interact with the audience, and I don't say necessarily had to do as much as wanted to do, because we were able to ask them some questions. So one question I threw out was, how many of you feel like you have great supply chains? One hand went up. So I asked, well, how many of you have a good supply chain? And we had a couple of more hands, but what was striking is about 80% of the audience there was basically saying our supply chains are mediocre or average or best. So I challenged these CEOs and presidents with this comment. If you're not happy with your supply chain, the reason for it is looking at you in the mirror. And specifically, the reason you have a mediocre or average supply chain is because you're willing to live with that mediocrity or average supply chain. Now, that led to another discussion about what are some of the attributes that companies should be on guard for. Well, average supply chains don't have a supply chain plan or a transportation spend management plan. Interestingly enough, the one person that raised their hand as having a great supply chain also has a written plan. The second thing that supply chains need to be able to do is look to the future. What are we going to be looking at 6, 12, 18, 24, 10 years down the road? But the third thing that you have to be on guard for is that if you have an average supply chain, you're constantly going to be reacting to market forces versus being proactive and getting ahead of the pack. Now, if you're wondering, Mike, we have an average supply chain, but I'd love to get better. Great news. We've got some outstanding resources for you. Over at Transact.com, we've got how you can build a comprehensive transportation spend management plan. It's an ebook we released a couple of months ago. It's getting rave reviews. But the second thing we're really proud of was this white paper that we sponsored coming out from CSCMP in Auburn University on the supply chain in 2030. What is it going to look like? And one of the reasons we said an enthusiastic yes when we were asked if we wanted to sponsor it is because we work with companies on helping them build a better future. Now, if you're interested in accessing these resources, go to Transact.com or send me an email or give us a call, because with each and every 2-minute warning, we're here to remind you we are on your team, we're here to help, and we're passionate about seeing you be successful. Thanks for your time.